Hi, it's Jane with ScrapTasticyarns. And I watched my H movie, Movie and a Stitch. It's great. Now I will tell you, I had no idea what movie I was going to watch. And one of the very first comments I read was, how about Homefront? So I went with Homefront. As I started watching it, I realized I had seen it. Not once, but twice, but now 3 times. It's okay. Not a big deal. Homefront is a fairly violent movie, but it's really good. It was a 2013 movie, classified as American action thriller film, directed by Gary Fedler, written by Sylvester Stallone, and released back in November 27th of 2013, I think. It is based on the 2005 novel Homefront. It stars Jason Statham, James Franco, Winona Ryder, and Kate Bosworth. It was filmed in New Orleans. Now, the main plot of this movie is there is this DEA agent, Phil Broker, and Phil Broker's cover was blown during a gang methamphetamine laboratory bust. It was a raid, and his cover was blown. During that time, he resigned, and we find him 2 years later, having moved to a small town in Louisiana, I believe, where his daughter, Maddie, moves with him, and his mother, her mother was deceased. Well, Maddie is a really rough and tumble girl. She doesn't take crap off of anybody. And there's this little bully that starts picking on her. And she gets into a fight with this little boy named Teddy Klum. So Broker has come to the school to pick her up and also to talk with the principal about the issue. But during that time, Teddy's mother, Cassie, instigates a fight between Broker and her husband. Her husband gets his butt handed to him by Broker. Of course, because of his experience. That's why he was able to kick his rear end. So anyway, as he's going home, Cassie's going home with her husband, really chiding him about what a weakling he is. We'll put it that way. So she contacts her brother, who happens to be a drug dealer, named Gator Bodine. And she wants her brother, Gator, to scare Brody. Broker has a friend named Tito that warns him that the locals may engage in an old-school feud. And that's what happens. Broker fights off, Gator's little thugs that he sent at this gas station. And then later on, he and Maddie have gone horseback riding, and Gator breaks into his home. And from there he discovers that he was a DEA agent, and that he was the undercover cop responsible for a gang leader named Danny T's arrest and incarceration, which also resulted in the death of Danny T's son. So Gator is hoping that if he tips off Danny T, that he will get a bigger drug distribution route. So, Danny T sends one of his gang to kill Broker. So, Tito, his friend, advises Broker to smooth over the situation with Teddy's family, which he attempts to do, and Maddie invites Teddy to her birthday party. Tensions are starting to ease a little bit. But, unfortunately, the contacts that Broker has warn him that Gator is involved with Danny T. And in the meantime, Broker finds Gator's meth lab and sabotages it, which of course he gets captured by Gator's, gang members. And they torture Broker, but he manages to break free and beats him up again. But as they prepare to leave, the gang members arrive. One of the gang members goes to the barn, fights Tito, who kills him with a pitchfork after being seriously injured. Broker, of course, kills most of the gang members. But Gator's girlfriend, an ex-biker groupie, manages to kidnap Maddie and run off with her. And then Maddie uses her phone to call her father and let him know what's going on. And he realizes that, once again, Maddie has been taken to Gator's meth lab. So, Cassie, Teddy's mother, arrives at the warehouse and manages to hear about the gunfight in the meantime. When she discovers that Maddie is there, she accidentally sets off Broker's booby trap, and most of the lab is destroyed and explodes. Gator watches his business go up in flames, and of course you can manage that pisses him off. So Cassie, who's really disgusted with her brother because of what has happened, and there went that light. Who knows what's going on with the lights? Anyway, she manages to leave with Maddie, and in the scuffle, Gator accidentally shoots Cassie. Gator flees with Maddie in his truck. Broker chases him, and then they get into this big old thing and gets closed off, and he gets, taken care of, and Broker gets injured because he crashes the car on a bridge that's blocked off, and Gator nearly kills him. But Broker manages to free himself and is savagely beating Gator, puts a gun to Gator's head, and Maddie looks at him with a plea in her eyes to not kill him. So Broker doesn't kill him, and of course Gator and Cheryl are arrested, and Tito and Cassie are taken to the hospital. But the best part is when Broker visits Danny T in the prison. Lets him know he'll be around when he gets out. Out of 5 stars, I give that movie 5 stars. Even with the violence and everything, it was a fantastic movie. Now, in the meantime, before I saw the home front, I searched for a movie. And I believe Homefront is on Netflix, which it's free if you have Netflix. The next movie that I'd searched for was a 2018 film, and I thought, what? premise sounds kind of interesting. So I chose to watch the film High Life. High Life is free with Amazon Prime. Otherwise, I think it's a $2.99 rental fee. Now, with all these movies that I'm mentioning, I'd also like to remind people that most public libraries have an extensive DVD movie collection, which you can check out with your library card, which most libraries give you a library card free. So you might want to check if any of these movies are at your local library before you pay money to watch them. Now, High Life is a science fiction horror film that was directed by Claire Denis. It was written by Denis and her longtime collaborator, Jean-Paul Fargeau, and it stars Robert Pattinson and Juliette Binoche. Basically, it focuses on a group of criminals who are sent on a mission to travel in space towards a black hole while taking part in scientific experiments. The physicist and black hole expert, and I'm going to butcher his name, Aurelian Barou, was hired as a consultant, and Danish Icelandic artist Olafur Eliasson designed the film's spacecraft. It premiered September the 9th, 2018 at the Toronto International Film Festival. And it stars not only Robert Pattinson and Juliette Binoche, Andre Benjamin, Mia Goth, Agatha Buzek, and I think that's it. Yeah. So the plot is a group of criminals who are all serving death sentences are sent on a mission in space to extract alternative energy from a black hole. Each prisoner is treated as a guinea pig by Dr. Dibbs, who is fixated on creating a child through artificial insemination, but she has not had success yet. Sexual activity between prisoners is prohibited. The ship is equipped with something called the box, and it is a device obsessively used by the crew to masturbate. Dibbs murdered her own children and husband before attempting suicide. Pattinson, whose name in the movie is Monty, is the only celibate prisoner. He rejects Dibbs' sexual advances, and he is serving a life sentence for murdering a friend for killing his dog as a child. Monty's only friend on the ship is, I can't even pronounce this, is Tcherny, Cherney, who is drawn to the onboard garden because it reminds him of Earth. Pregnant prisoner Electra delivers a baby, but it dies. And she does too, as well. The captain, Chandra, develops leukemia due to the radiation and has a stroke before being euthanized by Dibbs. One night, a male prisoner, Edor, binds a female prisoner named Boise and her roommate Mink to their beds and attempts to rape Boise. Nansen, the pilot, intervenes, but Edor is attacked and overpowers her. Monte arrives, throws Ettore off Boise, and beats him. When Monty leads Boise away to be treated, Mink stabs Ettore to death in the hallway. Dibs begins doubling the amount of sedatives each prisoner receives. Later, sneaking into Monty's cell and raping him while he is sedated. She then injects his semen into Boyce, who produces a healthy child that Dibs dotes on. But Monty is unaware that he is the baby's father. As the ship approaches the black hole, Nansen prepares to pilot a shuttle around it. Unbeknownst to the other prisoners, Boise kills Nansen with a shovel and takes her place. The shuttle travels through a molecular cloud that alters its trajectory and causes it to dive into the black hole, where Boise explodes due to what they call spaghettification. You'd think they'd come up with a better word. Anyway, Mink later taps Dibs and injures her, but is then killed by Monty. But Dibs informs Monty just before she dies that he is the child's father. And then ejects herself into space. Tierney commits suicide and Monty buries him in the garden, according to his wishes. Now there is only 2 surviving people. One is the prisoner Monty. The other is his child, which he names Willow. But in the meantime, Monty removes the bodies from the ship's morgue, dresses them into their space suits, and releases them into space. Monty struggles to raise this child that he has named Willow. As he attempts to make repairs to the ships, her frantic cries through the helmet speakers drive him kind of wacko, and he loses a tool and it gets lost in space. And then out of the blue, Willow is a teenager. They encounter another ship that is similar to theirs, and Monty boards the ship but finds it only has stray dogs that have survived by eating one another. Willow begs Monty to bring one back, but he refuses, implying that the contamination might kill them both. So as the ship moves closer to the black hole, Willow convinces Monty to board a shuttle with her and journey through it. And as they do, Monty takes Willow's hands as a yellow light source grows ever larger and envelops them. That's it. This is what I'm going to say about this movie. It was weird. It really was weird. Does a lot of back and forth, so you didn't know what is happening now, what happened later. For the first probably 10 minutes, because you don't know what's happened, because the first scenes show him with the baby and then show him putting the other prisoners in their space suits and putting them out in space. Now, I will tell you, when I was watching that scene, my first thought was, why would you waste their space suits putting them on them and putting them out in space when you might need that space suit later? To me, that's a plot hole, but whatever. And then you go into this thing where there's no baby and the prisoners are exercising and you really don't know they're prisoners. You don't understand that part until probably about mid-movie. I think there's a mention about it. But it was just weird. The ending was odd. Kind of left you wondering. Did they get spaghetti-fied? Or what? You know, that kind of thing. On a scale of 5 stars, I would give this 2 stars. Maybe 1.5 to 2 stars. I mean, it kept you motivated enough to watch it because you were like, what? I mean, that's the way I was. I was like, I don't get this. What's going on next? You know, it's like looky-loos at an accident. Couldn't wait to see what happened next. That kind of thing. But I did enjoy it. Like I said, it was a little strange. I will tell you, it brought my Crojo back. It and Pamela of Pamela's Adoring Crochet. She asked me to test a pattern for her, and that got me back into crocheting, so I crocheted that while I was watching this movie, High Life. I can't show you that yet because I don't know when she is going to release the pattern, but once she releases the pattern, I will show you the finished object. It's adorable. That's all I'm going to say. It's adorable. So, that is it for my H movie. I have not determined my I movie. So if any of you have suggestions, please leave them down below. And no, I will not watch Inception. I've watched that 4 times. That's all I'm saying there. So, while I go in search of an I movie, everybody have a great day. If you choose to watch one of these movies, keep in mind they are both adult themed. That's all I would say. But they were, Homefront was a good movie. I enjoyed the action. Obviously, to have watched it 3 times. And High Life was like looky-loos at a, passing by an accident. You just want to see what happens. Alright guys, have a blessed day. I'll see you again soon. And remember to choose kindness.